Purpose of this speech is to inform you guys about chewing tobacco. So a lot of people think that when they smoke that they're at higher risk for cancer than someone who does chewing tobacco. So they quit smoking and they go to start dipping. Well, that isn't a good move at all. I mean, it does the same thing. You're still at risk for cancers. It may not be lung cancer, but you still can get cancers of the mouth. You can get gum cancer, oral cancer. So all in all, you're still hurting your body. Many people don't know the effects on what dip does to you. So tobacco causes cancer by weakening your immune system, which entails your body can't fight off cancer cells, and that's just the mainstay of it. Like, it's you can't avoid it. It's just going to happen. Growing up, my mom used to smoke all the time. My whole family smoked, probably about 75% of them. So I didn't think anything was, bad about smoking or tobacco. So I didn't avoid it. I just stayed right next to her, right next to all of them, and didn't think anything of it. When I got into high school, I was like, okay, everyone else smokes, so why shouldn't I? So I would always take, one or two of my mom's cigarettes up to the farm, and while I'm bringing in the cows, I'd sit there and smoke a cigarette while walking through the field. I would do that almost every night and every morning. It was terrible. And then I got into high school, and I decided that I wanted to do wrestling. Well, I knew that smoking wasn't going to help me at all, so I started dipping. Now that was probably the worst decision of my life, because I have been out of high school for 7 years and I haven't stopped. I've been close, but I mean, everyone says quitting is hard, which they're exactly right, and that's why I wouldn't recommend dipping or smoking at all. Now, many people don't know that when you dip, it increases your chances for cancer by up to 50%. That's terrible. I mean, if you could avoid that, wouldn't you want to? So I'm pretty familiar with the effects of cancer, or the effects of smoker dipping, because when I was in the Marine Corps, every year we'd have to do annual training on tobacco and what it does to your body. So I mean, that was 5 years of that, and it was always different. I always learned new knowledge, and then now I'm in nursing school. So I mean, tobacco is a high thing that talked about all the time and what it does. So I'm pretty good with the effects of it and how it will affect me when I get older and what it's doing to my body right now. So now I'm going to talk about my main points of the speech, and it just goes through the history where tobacco came from, how it came here, and then it's going to go into what it does to your body and how it actually creates these negative side effects, and then what the government is going to, or what they are currently doing to try to avoid people being addicted to tobacco and chewing tobacco. So first off, tobacco has been around since colonial times. It was generated billions in revenue back in the 1500s and 1600s. What happened was colonial settlers came over, and the Native Americans actually introduced them to it. Now, they loved it so much that they thought we can make money off of it. So what they did was they started commercial cropping it. In fact, in 1611 was the first commercial crop, and it became very popular by the 1630s. Tobacco became such a very important cash crop to the settlers that it was outtaken by cotton. Tobacco was shown to be very unhealthy, and research of this product came to the public, and they didn't really like it. So what happened was it showed that tobacco costs money, and then it also does has negative side effects on your body, which you would think that they would notice that if people kept on getting sick, but it took them a while. So what happened was tobacco companies started regulating what they do and what they put into it, and then the government got on top of it, and then that was even more of a big deal because the government, they didn't really know how to go about trying to stop this from being popular. So, they were pretty much working with time. So it was been in their lives forever, and people thought it was just a stress reliever, which, I mean, it does relieve stress, but it's not. I mean, there's better things you can do to relieve stress. I mean, you can work out, you can watch a movie, you can read. Like, there's all the things out there. Obviously, they didn't have movies, but they had books, and they could go for a run back in the day. So they realize that the house arrest, they put you at risk for cancer and just negative side effects. According to the article on global social issues, the negative health effects came from over 4,000 different chemical compounds, in which are most toxic. So I mean that's a lot. So I mean if you think that tobacco, oh, it's just the tobacco leaves that's going to make you sick and harm your body, but it's not. I mean there's 4,000 other things in there that's going to hurt your body, and you can avoid all 4,000 just by not chewing. Most of these compounds are actually found in the leaf, so it's unbelievable that there's 4,000 things that can harm your body just from one tobacco leaf. And it blows my mind. But these compounds, they're consumed through your gums. So when you put a chew in your mouth, what it does is it soaks into your gums and it gets absorbed through your bloodstream. So that's where this oral cancer comes from. It's just weakening everything in your mouth. And then it goes into your system, and those compounds will just harm your immune system and make you weaker, so you can't fight off the cancer cells that develop from the dip that's actually in your mouth. The most serious cancer that comes from it is oral cavity cancer. So I mean that's just self-explanatory. You put something in your mouth and it sits there and it just pretty much just becomes mush and works on your gums, and you keep doing it over and over, and next thing you know your gums are all red and they're bleeding all the time and you don't know why. It's because you got dip in your mouth. This cancer not just involves your gums, but it involves your lungs, your cheek. I mean, it's up here, yeah, it's going on your gums, but it's also hitting your cheek and doing the same thing that it's doing to your gums. And you have your tongue, which you're constantly pushing it up. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things that go into cancer. And, just using all those things, it just develops, and no one knows, how to quit. So not only will it cause oral cancer, it's going to cause leukoplakia, which is just whitest patches on your mouth that can become cancerous. And that is the one thing that people notice first about when they're chewing. They're like, oh man, I got these white patches on my on my gums. I should go in and check it out. Well, they go in there and they're like, yeah, you have some cancerous little white patches on your lung. You got to stop what you're doing. And that's when people really see it and they're like, okay, I got to change my lifestyle and I got to stop dipping. So as people became, weak and getting cancer and became sick, the government started to notice the negative side effects. And they're like, okay, this is not good. People are going downhill fast from this. They began to think, okay, how are we going to be able to mitigate this problem and take this product away from teenagers and adults and try to stop this. So in the late 1900s, the government made anti-tobacco efforts. And at first, it was, it was going on in magazines and people were talking about it, and it was on TV. That was when TV started to become popular and people had them in their houses. So commercials were there. They were successful, but they always have obstacles. So the rate of people who chew and smokers has gone down significantly. I mean, you have the movement where you couldn't smoke in bars. I mean, that doesn't count for chewing tobacco, but it's the same thing. Like, you can't have tobacco products in bars. You can't have tobacco products on certain properties. And, so they're making efforts there. And then they also put them in commercials. So that's more for smoking. Chewing, it's a little bit harder because it's a little bit low-key and people don't think that a lot of people do it. Well, I mean, they do. I mean, smoking, on the smoking boxes, you have little warning boxes on how that, what it does. Just some have pictures, but a tin of chew does not. I mean, actually, I have one right here, and instead of a warning, it says warning on the little black thing right there, but it also has an American flag. So it has a warning box, but then it also has advertisement. So, I mean, they're always coming up with obstacles. And then the chewing tobacco company is going to try to advertise their product. And if they put an American flag on their tin and someone from the military like me saw it and they're like, oh, I want that one, that's patriotic. So they're going to do it. So, I mean, these obstacles are hard to come by, but they're the best way that you can really I don't know, advertise on why not to do it is through TV shows, because a lot of people watch TV nowadays. I mean, it's a huge thing, and everyone, they're going to see those commercials. I don't really see a lot of chewing tobacco commercials about not doing it and how to prevent it, but I mean, if they were to want to really nip it in the bud and try to get away from it, they need to put it on TV. But they don't, and it blows my mind on why they don't. But I mean, I'm not the one creating the articles. So in conclusion, tobacco has a long history, right? So everyone knows, like, it's been around for years, and it's probably far from being eradicated. It's just one thing that people do, and they can't get away from it. It's just a habit. People want something, to chew. They want something in their mouth, and it's just going to be there. Well, we ourselves need to be strong enough and not give in to this stress reliever that everyone thinks it is, and just get away from it. I mean, you can you can research it, you can look up what it does to your body, and you can tell yourself, like, I don't want to do that to myself. And that's going to be the only way that you yourself can avoid this product and hopefully keep yourself healthier, day by day, and not have cancer. So that's my speech.